Hi. Hi, Gemini. This is Gina. Thank you for joining me today. I just finished recording your March horoscope. Hopefully, that will come out later today. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to check in with you because basically I have two different parts of my channel. I have my daily astrology chat live, which is what you are um, watching me on right now. And then I also do monthly horoscopes. And so there's just so much going on with the astrology right now and for the next couple of months that I thought it would be a good idea to take this opportunity to sort of combine the two and check in with every sign. So please feel free to leave any questions or thoughts in the chat if you're joining me live. And if you are watching this later, feel free to leave any questions in the comments and I'll respond to you then as well. So yeah, I mean, there's so much going on with the astrology. And I just wanted to kind of take a look around the chart and talk about a few things. The first thing that jumps out to me right now is that we are building up to this Mars station. I'm just going to circle Mars here on the chart as we talk about it. Uh, just for the sake of clarity. Um, the hope of my channel, my sort of goal is that if you just enjoy hearing about astrology and hearing about your horoscope and all of that, that it will work well for you. And if you are learning more and more about astrology and want to follow along a little bit more with what I'm doing with the chart, that it would work for you as well. And I hope that it sort of has this feeling of uh, being especially this astrology chat live, I sort of want it to feel like you're just hanging out with your friend who happens to know astrology. So please feel free to sort of go back and forth with me. I mean, that is the thing about astrology. We're all our own best astrologers. So the more that you do sort of interpret and take things in for yourself and actually understand where they're coming from and why someone is saying that, the more meaning comes to it for you. Okay, so really happy to be here to talk about this astrology. There really is so much going on right now. And something that's happening right now as we speak is that Mars is stationing to go direct, finally. Mars has been moving retrograde in Cancer for some weeks, and Mars isn't really comfortable in Cancer. It's a more difficult sign for Mars to be working through anyway, and then doing this unusual retrograde at the same time sort of just has made the signature all that more potent and prominent. So things might be feeling a little bit better. If you have had any things coming up in the last few weeks where it could be emotional things coming to the surface, either for you or for those around you, and just a lot of emotion, kind of. And it also can be outbursts in that sense. And I think there's something about this Mars retrograde too in Cancer, like it kind of can shake our confidence or our motivation, just that feeling good and taking action and moving things forward can be a little bit harder that normally Mars is providing. It's not providing it in the same way in Cancer. It's sort of using that energy internally to work on emotional matters. It's not really Mars's favorite way to use his energy. So if all of that's been going on a bit for you in the last couple of weeks, Gemini, know that it might be starting to feel a little bit better finally at this time because Mars is at least moving direct. We still have several weeks, certainly the month of March, with Mars still in Cancer. But we're starting to move. If there was something that you realized through the process, now is more of a time to move it forward. So for you, this Mars retrograde is in your second house. Second house mainly relates to two things from what I've noticed, and they're very connected and interestingly connected. The first is your earnings. So money that really you earn, not money that you receive from, a spouse's income or uh, parents or anything like that, really money that you earn. And then also your values. What you really value can show up in the second house as well. And those two things are quite connected because they are all about what you value. It's weird because we feel like, do I value money? No, no, maybe, or yes, maybe, but we all do because money has this value that we assign it, right? Like we actually do use money to buy food, to pay the rent, to buy things that we need, and so there is inherent value in money from that sense. And then also other things that you value can show up here, like, time for your spiritual practices or um, whatever it is that you really care about and that you want to invest in. So those kinds of themes could have been what had been coming to the surface in the last few weeks, with some sort of irritation around it, some emotion around it, some rethinking. And I think now Mars is beginning to move forward. So you might feel a little more inspired, especially as we sort of round the corner this weekend and into next week, to begin to take a bit of more action in those areas. And so, hi Johnny, nice to see you. And so that's one thing I really wanted to talk about. Another thing that is pretty key is this. I'm actually going to go first. I know it's so hard not to look up at Pisces, that loaded Pisces house, but I'm not going there quite yet. But yeah, we see all those planets up in Pisces. I see them too. That's where I'm headed next. But first, I really think that the South Node in Virgo is so interesting. I'm starting to really fall in love with the signature of the South Node in Virgo. So wherever we have the South Node, we're sort of letting go of, it gives us an opportunity to work on letting go of the negative sides of the signature of that sign. So for Virgo, some of the more negative sides of that signature might be being overly critical, being a perfectionist, sort of overworking, over planning, being a bit too detail oriented, not really being able to see the forest for the trees, just being micromanaging, overly micromanaging, overdoing. And so I think releasing that is such a great process that so many of us are going through with this opportunity of the South Node in Virgo. And for you, that's in your fourth house, Gemini. So it's related to your physical home. So you might be sort of releasing the need to control and perfect your house. You might be taking more of a sort of whimsical approach, which sometimes can be the best way to approach caring for things. Um, and it also relates to your family of origin, like your parents. And I think wherever we're releasing perfectionism in a house that people are in, it's a good thing, right? Whether it's our spouse, our friends, our children, our parents. For you, the fourth house is your family of origin, your parents, your ancestors, sort of where you come from, your foundation in general. And there's sort of some releasing of a need for that to have been perfect. It's always beneficial to do that where people are concerned because it allows for more compassion. It allows for more acceptance, which just makes everything a little bit easier all around. I feel like there's something about the South Node in Virgo that sort of reminds me of coming out of survival mode, releasing that need to like be hyper focused on every detail and get everything under control. And yeah, I really, really like that. And that's starting now. And it's actually a process that unfolds for like the next 18 months, Gemini. So that's something that we'll continue to talk about for sure. And that will be a theme that sort of unfolds a bit with time. Okay, so I do want to talk about the Pisces house now, this loaded Pisces house, a Pisces party, or a stellium, as we call it. I'm not really super crazy about that. Can I Make it a little bigger so we can see all the planets. All right, let's go. All right, that's not too bad. We can see all the planets. That's what I want. um, I need to talk about Aries at the same time. Oh, I was saying a Pisces party. In astrology, we call that a stellium, 4 or more planets, 5 planets especially at one time. It's quite the pile up. And this is a chart, by the way, for today, for February 12th or February 20th, when I'm filming this this astrology chat live. So I need to talk about Aries too, because basically for the next few months, and honestly really into 2026, there's a ton of activity back and forth between the Pisces house and the Aries house in our charts. There's sort of a story unfolding here that relates to I feel like this is like really like your public self. We have your career and your work house right here. And then in your 11th house is friends and groups. So it's all sort of about who you are out in the world. And we have a Venus retrograde going through both signs and houses. We have a Mercury retrograde going through both signs and houses. The nodes just changed signs and passed over, and also Neptune and Saturn will go from Pisces to Aries, and there'll be some retrogrades where they go back and come back. And it's just a lot of activity between these two houses. So I think that there could be a lot of activity happening for you in your public life or perhaps professionally. A lot going on at work. If you're busy at work right now, that wouldn't surprise me at all. But it also might feel like a little bit unclear or uncertain. There's a process unfolding. And with all this Pisces energy, it's just very sort of watery and dreamy right now. But I think from within that space, from within that sort of liminal space where things are transitioning, but things are also taking shape, now is a really important time to sort of let go a little bit. I'm almost coming back to this letting go of the need for perfectionism and control, that we're all facing, and that's connected to Pisces with the North Node here. Instead of doing that, sort of being listening to your instincts, to your inner voice, moving a little bit more intuitively. And it's funny to think about doing that at work, right? But if you can sort of let go of control a little bit and go into a little bit more of a creative or dreamy space, I actually think that somehow that will really serve you as things continue to take shape over the next few months. It's a really interesting signature, and I think it relates to groups that you belong to and friendships that you're connected with as well. So you might not understand what this is all about right now, and it might be quite a little while before you do, but don't worry about that. Allow that to be, because there's something about it being a bit loose that is what is required. And just allow yourself to dream big. I think there's something about the coming out of survival mode that allows us to dream big and relax enough to be a little dreamy. And I think bringing that energy in a little bit with work right now would be great. So I am hoping to post your March horoscopes by the end of the month, by the end of the day, and I will link those at the end of the video here. You can find it on my channel. And I will also link here to a video that my friend Corinne and I did about the sign of Gemini. That was really a lot of fun. I think you would enjoy that as well. And I just thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your encouragement in the chats and for your likes and just for everything. And I hope you have a great day, and I'll be back again tomorrow.